Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hospitality Marketing live show number 441. I am your host, Lauren Gray. Thank you so much for joining us live. And as I see everyone coming up on the boards on various platforms, and just in case you may not know or this is your first time hearing to us, you can watch us on a variety of places, including our TV channel, TV station channel, whichever way you want to refer to it, which you can find on your Roku TV, your Amazon Prime TV, your Google TV, your Apple TV, any smart TV. Just look for the Hospitality Channel. Live show is always on the free side of that. There is a pay gateway for more content related to the industry, products, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's on the paid side. Other than that, if you're more of the desktop watching this kind of thing right now, you can catch us on a variety of pages on Facebook, mine including Hospitality Digital Marketing. Also on LinkedIn, on X, on YouTube TV. There's a variety of channels that we're also on there. And if you're use your gaming console for media, we're also on Twitch. So we try to cover all the bases to it. With that, let's hit our topic today. We had a lot of fun with getting the band back together last week. I'd like to say it's going to happen more often, and it will. We will get a variety of our previous co-hosts back together, plus an ensemble of new co-hosts as we go forward this year. So you won't just see my smiley, cheery, happy, grizzly, bearded face all the time alone. You'll see me with a variety of people, and in some cases, maybe even just some controlling guest speakers. Topic today, and this comes out of what we do each week, which I think most of you that follow me, thank you so much for being all over the place. I always am surprised by the variety of people that watch us globally at this time. We are 11:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, which, if you follow time zones around the world, makes for some very interesting time zones, say in Malaysia and Philippines. And yet we have people that are watching us at a very odd time. And hopefully it's well worth it, as it seems, because there's some people that are regular with us. So thank you so much. Our topic today, it comes out of what happens in the course of my discussions with clients and who I interact with, associations, content that I'm asked to participate in, and so forth. And really today kind of goes back to something that I still get dumbfounded that people still think of these things as being how you're supposed to do things. So my topic is, why should I advertise when I'm full? And other curiosities. So it is funny that talking to people, and they're seasonal. We have seasonal demand. Yes, Captain Obvious, there is seasonal demand. I would love to think that we all have places that have a perpetual, persistent, equal demand throughout the course of the year, because gosh, that would make life so much easier. There's no ups and downs for holidays, no ups and downs for weather. There's no ups and downs for anything. We're just always in demand. Be wonderful. We all seek the immortal grail of 100% occupancy at maximum ADR that's market bearable. Reality is, none of us are in that world. We have some properties that are always in very high demand, but they have high competition, so they never can be that perfect sold out all the time. But they're close. There are always exceptions to anything we ever say. So I get discussions with people that say, okay, I'm looking for this, and this is how I'm looking to do this. And, I'm very seasonal. So there'll be X period of time that I won't need any advertising. Why? Well, because we're full. We're peak season. So you're not going to advertise when you're full. Yeah, we have nothing to sell. So think about this rationale for a second. And this has been a persistent thing ever since we've started doing online advertising. As a matter of fact, I would say previous to, in more analog world, we had the same perception. Why put ads out there to sell what we don't have at that time? I would like to refine the perspective of that as to what you're selling, to whom you're selling, and for what time you're selling it towards. So I look at, when you see an actor who has been successful in a movie, all of a sudden you see them used all over the place. They're on different shows, they're on different other programmings, maybe they're doing other projects, and you're like, my gosh, this person just popped on the scene, and now they're everywhere. Why is that? Because while the iron is hot, so to speak, they're taking advantage of the popularity of people being recognizing them, and also for those people that are in the industry say, that would be a perfect fit for a character cast that I have for such and such. And the next thing you know, they have another part. Had they not been exposed via their first production or multiple productions that they're now a part of, they would have never been considered for other parts. There's plenty of movies as we go back in time that lead roles for characters and so forth. That person's no longer in the genre of acting. And you look back going, wow, they really just had that part because they were popular at the time. It wasn't because they were the best person for that particular role. All said and same, they struck when the iron was hot. They were popular. So they made sure they took full advantage of that popularity to optimize all the interest in them and take all the clients and accounts that they could possibly do during that time of popularity. I say that firsthand when I was doing a lot more of the association circuits, when I would get on stage pretty persistently. There were some heavy travel years where every month I was somewhere, if not a couple of places. And business was constantly at the doorstep for people that were exposed to what I was saying and say, wow, I love what you said. Can I hire you to do what you're talking about doing? And it works out very well. Fortunately, in this world now, that momentum is carried forward without me having to go out so much and be in front of the public as much. But this show puts just me in front of people regularly every week anyway. So, and I get to pontificate like I am. So, this idea of advertising when you're busy, the logic of not advertising when you're busy is the simplicity of, well, I have nothing to sell, so why would I spend money selling it? The second odd logic to that rationale is, why should I have to advertise when I'm already in such high demand? I mean, literally, everybody's beating down your door to get a room with you at the times that you're busiest. So why advertise? Well, both of those don't hold water. Under the context of advertising for here and now offers and promotions is probably the only veiled possibility of saying that those are proper conjectures. Meaning that you're not going to talk about offers during your high demand as much because you don't have any room availability to sell. So you are literally not selling something. And even then, that's a kind of a conditional statement to say, because sometimes, and this is terrible to say from a marketing perspective, you have to show what people are interested in to engage with you in knowing that it's unlikely that what they're interested in is truly available at the level that they want it. Maybe the rooms type, maybe the rate type, maybe the dates of that they're interested in may not be fully available. And you know this by offering that everybody's not going to be happy with the fact that they're not going to find exactly what they want. Now, this is a far stretch from bait and switch. Same mentality, bad use. Offering something you don't have, but then trying to sell something I wasn't wanting to buy. I'm not talking about bait and switch. I'm talking about yielding interest in you when you are very popular attention. So the idea is when you're offering something for your high demand period, are you offering it just for the high demand period? Or are you engaging with people to make them aware of you to buy something in general? And that's where we get into the more higher valued idea of advertising when you're the belle of the ball. Let's just make a scenario where we're talking about, so there's some relevance of perspective to this. So spring break has a high demand for certain markets. Florida, people love coming to Florida. Let's pick Fort Lauderdale. Let's say that, for instance. So people love coming down to the beach in Fort Lauderdale for spring break. And you're a hotel down there, and you know this. So historical revenue strategy has been you maximize your rate because the demand's there. Now that's Hotel 101. You know that people are going to be wanting it. You know that you put gateways and fences on what you're offering. You're not allowing people to come in for a Friday night only because it's harder to sell Saturday only. So you gate it to a 2-day minimum stay for Friday arrivals. Perhaps you push it to a Thursday arrival to get them through. Maybe you push it to a departure Sunday only guideline. So these fences that you create to get higher yieldability of your demand periods. You know your weekends for spring break are very, very high in demand. So you start putting these gates with high rates so that you can contain and maximize the demand for people coming for those times. You also historically look at your data and say, what is the durability of their length of stay? Is it a 3-night, 2-night, 5-night? When do they previously arrive at peak? When do they usually departure from? And you build your rate strategies and your revenue strategies based on these demand points. They like departing on a Monday or Tuesday, they like coming in on a Thursday. Okay, so it's a full push weekend. They like coming in early enough to make it a long weekend, and they like residually staying around a little bit longer before they do their departure. Is there other places they go to? Are you connected to other hotels? You might drive business from that hotel to another hotel, which is a whole nother reason, which we'll get to, about advertising during peak demand, is the distribution of interest. So all of these things go into standard 101 revenue management for hotels in a demand seasonal period. Not telling anything new to anybody that's doing this for their daily world. What I am saying is when they start arguing or start saying that they should not advertise or diminish their advertising because there is no ROI, which is both a two-edged sword. It's a benefit of understanding what it is, and it's a bane if it's the first and only filter you run through first. Um, Marketing during these times is not so much about selling what you don't have. It's about cultivating the relationships of interest to sell them when you're not as popular, your off seasons or shoulders, your inventory that isn't in the first demand cycle. And go back to my original point, if there's a way for you to cross over the interest in your property. Now, branded hotels can't do this as easily, as easily. Independent hotels can, of saying, well, can't get you into our Fort Lauderdale property, but we have a property down in Miami that still has availability for what you're looking for. Would you consider that comparison? That's one thing. And that's still within the demand period of interest. The real value of advertising during your busiest periods is primarily due to the attention that you're getting and the ability to communicate with all the people that are considering you for any reason that you want to discuss with them. Now, if you're a beach resort for spring break, you have other seasonal demands. You have summertime, you have shoulder, fall time, and so forth. There are other times that you can maybe solicit interest and defer that interest of, we don't have anything for you now, so sorry. Um, Either too late that you've been looking, or we don't have the inventory type or the rate that you're looking for, or the dates you're looking for, whatever. However, we would love for you to get signed up so that we can let you know if there's any other opportunities. One, if there is something we can offer you in around what you've already shown interest for, maybe we can resell you something else. Like, okay, those dates not yes, but if something opens up, we'd love to let you know. Hey, by the way, you will come back again because that weekend that you were looking at has changed and we now have availability or whatever. This is great for replacing group block that fades and things like that. The other is it gives you an engagement with the guest. They're more willing to engage with you, thinking that there might be some benefit to doing that. Okay, compared to other times when they're looking at you in comparison to everybody else, and that you're not unique enough for them to say, I'm willing to communicate or give you information so you can communicate with me. That's what high demand allows you to do that. You get the ability to say, hey, you wanted to be with me, so here, sign up for this so I can talk to you. Disney does a lot of that, by the way. A lot of organizations do that. So what you're doing is you're cultivating CRM information and the capability of better defining what they're looking for so that you can maybe tailor some more interest in them. They may only have considered you because they thought about doing a spring break vacation and Lauderdale came up because of whatever reason for them, and you were a high interest for them. They may not realize that there are other times that they might find enjoyment coming to your property. Early summer, late summer, early fall, whatever it is, your ability to let them know that gets diminished if you didn't try to reach out and communicate with them. Because here's the thing, the common high demand stuff draws the interest, but they may not have you in consideration for the other times that they might have equally enjoyed being with you. Let's shift examples. They're going to want to go skiing in Vail during the wintertime, snow season. And high demand, can't get in left from right, whatever. But then you ask them to connect with you and then let them know that there's other things to do. Like we have an incredible summer program where you get to ride bicycles down the hill or whatever it is, or the mountain or whatever. Things that may not have been apparent to them that now can come into their consideration. That would not have happened because you would not have reached out to them during summer season and solicited them saying, hey, we have this cool summer program, because they're not thinking of you at that time. The summer consideration wasn't there. So that awareness building by taking advantage of the belle of the ball of being the most popular person or business that people are trying to get into gives you the chance to create a connection with them and then offer and communicate with them and also learn what their interests are. Why do they want to stay with you? Was it purely just because of the snow and the powder, or was it just because they've always wanted to go to Vail or whatever it is? And maybe they love art shows and you have art shows. Maybe there's movie things. They love movie things. Maybe there's soft adventure where they like bikes down the mountains and so forth. You don't know that from just their first search query interest of looking at your hotel during a peak demand period. You can, however, explore those options and present those options to your guests through an engagement of CRM with them. And that can only happen if you are talking to them. If you shut down your marketing during your high demand periods, then you are literally keeping it dark for them to even know anything other than your availability and whatever it is that they were looking for you for. Once they got denied that interest, they move on to a place hoping to find what it is that they're looking for. And you've lost that chance because you're not soliciting, you're not trying to engage them. They queried, they looked, they didn't find, they left. And all you're looking at is some interpretation of a denials report that is foggy at best as to what it was. And you'll assign it up as to, well, hey, it's season and they should have checked earlier. And, they were looking for weekends that we already been pre-sold out for or whatever. And you're blaming the guest for not buying something from you. Worst thing in the world to look at that way, because it's not the guest's fault that they didn't buy something from you. It's our ability to find out what it is best that we can offer a service to them. Yes, we may not have had what they had, but to blame them that they were too late in looking, or to blame them too late that they were expecting a different price, or to blame them too late that they couldn't stay shorter than what we're demanding of them, is to just be wrong. I don't have a better way of saying it. So the idea that advertising during peak demand is bad is actually the inverse. It is necessary. Now, going back to what you're saying, we've only been talking about addressing the interest of the demand period itself. Advertising during the demand and not referring to what you're selling at the time, but rather what other opportunities exist. So maybe I wasn't too clear and better describing this. So the first engagement with a guest is they're an interest in what we have and being denied or not finding what they're looking for, but our solicitation of engagement with them to be able to communicate whether there's an opportunity still for them or what they're interested in and so forth, and expand that into other opportunities at other times of year, maybe off season. The other avenue is to not get in front of the people for the purpose of shifting their interest off of the high demand, what they were looking for, into another area, but actually offering things that have nothing to do with the demand period, but an exposure of brand awareness and service awareness of what we offer in our full scope of, we know you're loving to come and to visit during spring break, but discover our XYZ destination in fall or in summer, or we have these deals because you've been looking for us. Here's a great offer for a time that might be of also interest for you, with the caveat of being able to try to engage with them via CRM. That need to engage is the critical component of being the belle of the ball. While everybody wants to talk to you, take advantage of that and talk to as many people as you can. Try to engage with them, because that creates the database that you need to engage with people when you're not the belle of the ball and you're looking for people to go over and be interested in coming and staying with you. The worst thing to do with that CRM list is to leave it dormant until you have the need. You have to cultivate a relationship. It's so funny to talk to people, and it's not about, when you think of it, it must be right. Oh, hey, we should send an email to all those people that we got emails from when they were looking for during spring season, when it's the middle of winter right now and nobody wants to stay with us. Let's go over and send them an offer. About what? Do you know they're interested in coming to us in the middle of winter? Do you know that they have the opportunity to do this? Are they going to travel across the country? Do you know where they're from? Do you know why they were going to stay with us at the beginning? Do we have anything to offer them now? No. You're just burning a list of people that you gathered during season that signed up saying, yeah, tell me what you got going on, with the idea that you were going to tell them about what they're interested in. And then you blindside them with an offer that has no relevance to them. I've seen lists torched regularly like that, just because some salesperson, marketing person, revenue management person wanted to check a box and say, did we send an email out to everybody that we got from the season to see whether or not we can get them in for wintertime? You need to cultivate a relationship. From the time that they first engage with you, you have to have a scheduled program of engagement to help better identify what it is that they're interested in various ways. Because all of us, as we've talked many times before, are not the same traveler, even though we're the one person. Traveling for business, I have different goals, different purposes, different destination interests. Mine's about functionality to my purpose of travel. How close am I to the venue I need to be in? What's the motive, things that I need to be able to be worried about when I'm there? Uber availabilities, to destination from there, distance from airports, a distance from my venue, distance to places to eat, compared to transient family me. What's fun to do? How close are we to it? What are the things I should be thinking about in my scheduling? Do I want to be there at a time when such and such is going on? What's the event-driven interest? Maybe what's the holiday event-driven interest? Smurf business, going for families, reunions, fraternities, things going on that people might be interested in. So all of us have different travel avatars depending upon the type of travel we're doing. We're the same entity. We do have similar persona values, like I still like Apple products compared to Windows products, or I still like certain genres of things compared to other things. I still have the same music interests. Those are some commonalities of persona that we'll talk about in another show about common persona variations versus hybrid uh, persona variations, which is the avatars I'm talking about. So with that engagement requirement, think of it again, we go through the workflow process of CRM engagement. Here's some information based on what you first connected with us. We want to thank you so much for signing up. We know you're looking for doing spring break, and we know that didn't we were unable to fill. We'll let you know if anything opens up at the times that you seem to be interested, or that what we have as availabilities, special offers, and so forth. If you like that, click here. Are you looking to discover more about the destination? This was just the time you're interested in. We'd love to send you some more information about things that happen here on a regular basis. We're not just a spring break destination. We have lots of other cool stuff that goes on. Can we send you more information about that? When you think about traveling with your family, we have some great family things. You might not be knowing that there was a great children's museum here for certain age groups, or these things for certain teenagers. Here's some information. And depending upon what they engage with, creates a unique email list for you to re-engage with them. If they clicked on last minute deals and stuff like this, then that's what you begin to feed them more of. You still give them other variations other than just the one thing, but that's the feature ability of why you're sending it to them. Hey, you want to know if we had any great last minute deals? Here's some last minute deals. Over here, you have soft adventure or family. If they engage with those, they become a subset of data that you begin to cultivate the relationship with them via that. Doesn't mean that they're always going to be a family trip in their mind. They might click on something that you've sent that was for family orientation, but there was other aspects about adventures or cultural or culinary or whatever, and they clicked on that, and then all of a sudden they're in another subgroup. So yes, families is an interest. So they have a family, that's great, but they seem to be engaged with the culinary, the restaurant scene, or the brewery scene. And from that, we might send them more information from it. By the time you do this, not overwhelmingly, not saturation, not high frequency, based on what they click and what they're interested in, you develop over time a perpetual front of mind experience with them that they begin to persistently think about what it'll be like when they finally get to go visit you or visit your destination. So that when you do offer them those off-seasonal things, the discover things, come here while it's quiet, or nobody knows about this because everybody comes during spring break and this is wintertime and these are some really cool things to do, they're actually interested in what you have to say. It also has a lot to do in the process of discovery. Think of it as a relationship when you're first meeting somebody. There's certain big milestones you want to make sure, like, they're not a criminal or whatever it is, like this, whatever, and that they don't have extreme variations to what you're uncomfortable with. After that, it's a slow discovery process. What food is it like? What foods do they like? Or, what music do they like? What are things that they find for hobbies, so forth. It's a slow, progressive awareness of the person. You're doing the same thing with your CRM guest engagement, even if they've not been a guest yet. You're slowly engaging them and quantifying them as to why they're even talking to you. And that process means that you can then contribute something to them that they would want to know that's valuable to them. That progress happens. So how does this go back to our whole, why should we be advertising during peak season? Because you have so many people wanting to talk to you. You take advantage of that popularity. That's the first biggest reason of advertising during your high demand or sell-up periods. The second biggest reason is people are dealing with these decisions as if they are dogma, that it's always been done this way, that this is always the result of what we've done, so therefore it must be true. And they don't realize or have taken into account the newness of the things that we can do. And I say that related to data. So I've had plenty of people say, we don't advertise during peak season because it's a waste of money. How so? Well, we don't have anything to sell. So why are we advertising shit we don't sell? Well, first off, you're wrong. You don't necessarily advertise the stuff that you don't have. You advertise because you're selling not tomorrow, okay, not this weekend, because those are sold out, but you are selling 30, 60, 90, 120 plus days out. The interest that you're garnering for being in such high demand, people may be like, oh, wow, Fort Lauderdale. I haven't been to Florida. I wonder if there's some cool stuff. I don't want to go now. Spring break's going to be crazy, blah, blah, blah. What else they got? Mm-hmm. And they'll look and they'll see and they'll look for room type saying, well, I think I'm going to hit June maybe after Mother's Day and Easter and all that stuff settles down in April, or late May, before summer case. I want to catch what's going on in May. And they go and they start looking. That would not have happened had you not been advertising during the demand period that you were in. Regardless of your demand period being up or down, the perpetual requirement of brand awareness for what you do should be perennial. It should be persistent. Granted, in a lot of ways, you don't have to do as much brand advertising during peak demand season because a lot of your general market, awareness and demand to market is going to bring what you are in the forefront. But it is affirmational and it is persistent and it goes higher in the funnel at this time into the discovery phase of, Fort Lauderdale, would like to know more. What's this resort or what's this hotel? And is it in a place that I would be interested in being in compared to what's around it? And this is where your content comes in, of the relevance of your content beyond just your rate and date availabilities and your packages and your offers. But really, where are you in comparison to the biggest ball of twine? Where are you in comparison to the things that I would want to do based on my composition of why I'm traveling, whether it's family, non-family, business, whatever? How do you relate to my interest for what I'm looking for? Because I'm not looking at spring break, but Lauderdale sounds pretty cool since I have to be in that area. So maybe this is a cool place to go to when I'm down there in May. And that is the inspiration of why you need to be persistent in your advertising during your peak demands, is because you're not just selling that time where you have the excuse of, well, I don't, why should I advertise when I'm already sold out? You're selling to the people beyond that time frame. Now, marketing for your filling up your short-term stuff has to be much more granular as to why you're going to offer a short-term pickup if somebody has to take a flight to you. If it's within 7 to 14 days, if it's under 21 days, it's very hard to get a decent rate that doesn't mean that they're going to be rate sensitive to what you're offering unless you have a new income level or you're a product level where an income level is where it's not a consideration. Like, oh, okay, I don't care if I'm paying premium rate for 7 days out. I've made my decision. I'm going to go to Aspen. And I don't care what the rate is to be at the hotel. That's my decision. That's where I'm going to go. And they do it. That's great if you're one of those resorts. And that's what you need to consider when you're doing these campaigns is what is the demographics and the people that you're addressing with what you're offering. For most places, it's a collaboration of knowing what you're offering for the window of opportunity based on the ability for the people that are being exposed to your ad to actually act on it. Selling a next week deal to an audience that's in Japan is not probably a solid thing, unless again of the demographics and the income where it doesn't have a factor of their ability to take advantage of it. But strangely enough, at that level, price isn't the interest. Availability might be. That's the joy of being able to handle so many different client variations. Is like sometimes it has nothing to do with the price issue. It's about awareness of availability and an exclusivity of being able to have access to that option to do it. A lot of leveraging is to the demographics of people for that reason. It's a wonderful place to be in, but it's a very particular place to be in because marketing kind of turns on its head. It's like Alice in Wonderland. It goes upside down. Small is big and big is small. For the most of the resorts, the most of the hotels, it's a matter of consideration as to the segmentation of your audiences, the actual event and information that you're offering, and the value proposition of what it is you're proposing based on the segmentations of their interests. This workflow combination is what defines what you do for advertising during your peak demands. It's a necessity to understand that just because you're not selling something out, or that you are selling out, doesn't mean that you don't have something to say. There's plenty of audience because of plenty of demand. Take advantage of that by your CRM development. Take advantage of that you're selling ahead of yourself. And that goes back to the dogma discussion I was talking about. People are set in their ways that because this is how we did it. When we got busy, we stopped marketing. So we saved money and we yielded better. Yes. But did you ever math out the hole that you created in the future because people were unaware of you and because you didn't advertise, were never exposed to you, and therefore your demand and pace and trend go down? We now have such an exposure to data that we know when they're looking at us, for what they're looking at, for what they've done, engaged with us, to know what the lead time is for them. We have data now that I can look at a map and say that these are the geographic references to what's engaged with us for the dates that they've been looking for, because I can track the dates that are being put into the little boxes. That's been around for years. So I can see what the lead time is. I can see what channels they use to get to it. I can see what my cost is for that channel, and I can know how much to spend on that channel at that conversion, at that cost, to know what it's going to take for what occupancy I want at what rate and the length of stay based on their demand interest to fill those dates. That's proper marketing strategy with the data you have. You literally don't talk about season being on or off because they're not relevant to the topic of the decision for it. Outside of what content you're putting up in front of people that demand is looking for. I didn't want to get too crazy on pontificating on this because it can just get into a woven knot. It's very clear, I hope, that you understand that advertising during your peak demands is a critical component of your success. It is not about whether something's on or off, as it is to the frequency of focus and the value of spend. And that's the key element about advertising during that time. The other curiosities I would say that should come into forbearance of this is making judgments on the production of an ad campaign as its own entity. Like, we chose to advertise in a market this, and this is what it produced. So boy, were we smart. It's a self-fulfilling loop. We all get into these self-fulfilling loops. Because we only did this thing, we advertised this way, this is the production from it, that was good. We don't understand that we may have gotten a thimbleful of water out of an ocean that we went to. We may not have really tapped the real value of what we thought, but we felt we fulfilled our decision. It's I would say fun. It is intriguing when being on conversations where people are reaffirming their market success and don't ask the question, did we actually pick all the markets well, or did we pick the right market? Is this the biggest one, or is it just because we did what we did, we got what we got? It's always a question of one of my favorite coin phrases these days, because it changes whether, but is challenging the narrative. Is what you're doing the only thing to do? And is what you're doing the best thing to do? And you should always be able to answer those questions as either we're testing something else and to see how it produces, or we know that this is self-fulfilling based on our strategies. We're looking at replicating that with another place, another way, another targeting, another focus, another filter set to see if there's other avenues or variations. This is where it goes into your multi-variant testing, your A/B testing with your ads. Is we did it this when we got this production. What variations can we do to what we did to see if we can get other results? Some of them go up, some of them go down. Those are the ways you determine whether or not you're on the right path at the most yieldability for what you're doing. All that gets based on KPIs as to what are your goal sets, common goal sets, revenue goal, occupancy goal, ADR goal, whatever, brand awareness, growth of traffic. There's lots of KPIs that can be decided from as to your goal set as to why you're creating ad strategies. So I just wanted to leave that as for a couple weeks. One is our last show last week, because we got the band together, Robert Cole, Tim Peter, Stuart Butler. We missed Ed. We're going to get him on the show soon, Ever St. Ange. We kind of let it run everywhere, and it ran for 2 hours, which is our old day. For those that have been around with us, we've been doing this for 10 years every week. And for early part of that 10 years, 4 or 5 years of it, 6 years of it maybe, was us free-flowing conversation, open dialogue about context and content. We had topics we brought in. We had other guest speakers that came in and presented, and we talked and interviewed them and so forth and so on. But they usually ran about 2 hours. Over time, people were saying, hey, it'd be great if I actually knew ahead of time what the topic was. That way I can prepare for if I have to carve out time, or I'll just catch it another time. So we started raising a topic. Robert got incredibly busy with what he does with JD Powers and Focusrite. Stuart got popular, but busy with a whole new division of business that he was doing. Ever St. Ange, same thing. And Tim Peters, same thing. So what happened was we then got feedback as to 2 hours is too long for me to carve out. I love the dialogue, but I always have to check out, did you ever consider making it a little bit shorter, more concise? So we said, well, we'll do it for an hour. So we got down to an hour. So given all of that long history of how we've progressed over in time, these past few years, we've kept it to an hour. We kept it to a single topic. Our guests, we keep it to a single topic kind of thing. Last week was a 2 hour blowout. I'm getting the band back together. We just talked about stuff. It was fun. It was great. We'll be doing it again. But for this week, I'll cut it a little short and just leave it at whatever this is, 35-ish minutes or so. With a single topic, single thought, reevaluate what you're doing for your peak demand times is for your marketing strategy. Dispel the belief that it is a time not to advertise, because it's actually the contrary. There's two solid reasons. One is the ability to cultivate the interest that you're getting naturally and organically, being the belle of the ball. And the second of it is you're selling not just the dates that you're sold out, but you're selling in advance the dates that you've yet to get to, your future bookings. Those are the two core reasons for that to have happened. So with that, I think I've hit the topic well enough. Our podcast today will be a little bit more tool oriented about analyzing data and the means of creating reports like through Looker Studio and Tableau and things like this that can help you better see the data the way we've described it. Looking at ways to evaluate your book windows that you're impacting during your peak demands, look at your peak demand traffic and how to analyze the sourcing of that traffic to better target the engagement with those people, how best to address what they're interested in you for the reasons that they're interested from. Being able to target and focus and feature and create persona relationships with those people and create CRM engagement funnels and so forth. We'll talk about tools that do all of that on today's podcast 441. Hope you join us there for that as well. If you are a hospitality professional, marketing professional that does what we're talking about on a regular basis, we have a peer level group. Right now, it's still free to join. It's been that way for a little over a year, but this year, I think we're going to convert this into the closed group we intended it to be, because we get a lot of people that attempt to come in and get frustrated. It is only for people that are doing hospitality marketing. It is not to teach you if you've not done it. This isn't a basic course. There's tons of people that offer silly basic courses. Sorry, it sounds negative. We're people that are already engaged in the industry of hospitality marketing, and they need a peer group to ask questions that go beyond the silliness of learning, what is PPC, or how do I create an ad campaign? It's not that the questions are not valid. It's just the level more is about correcting for issues, variations of doing things, and so forth. It's a fun group. It's a peer group. And that is hospitalitymarketing.club. You'll see there's just a little box to put your email in. I send you a quiz. You pass the quiz, meaning if you're proficient in the basic understandings of hospitality marketing, you get an invite. You join a closed door club. It's not on Facebook or anything like this. Is a separate secure platform where we have our live sessions, our dialogues. A lot of our content pieces come from dialogues from there, in addition to my daily life and the weekdays with clients and engagements and associations and speaking and so forth. It's a fun club, so more than welcome to join us. If you are unaware of our TV channel, it's the Hospitality Channel. Any smart TV, you can get it. Just look under your different channels for Hospitality Channel. You'll find it. It'll be the logo you see with us here. And the live show will be broadcast at 11:30 a.m. We do recast this show at 11:30 a.m. Sydney, Australian time for our APAC friends, more familiar for time zones than people that are watching now. And we also do 11:30 a.m. Wednesday for London, UK time for our Mideast and European friends, a little bit friendlier time zone option for them as well. I will answer each and every email at lauren@hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com for both the podcast and the live show. If you want to join our audio feedback group, you can go to hdm.news/talkback. There I pose a audible question that you can answer audibly back to, or if you want to just speak your mind about something or suggestions, whatever, you can put it there and give me a level of access as to whether I can quote you, refer to you, or just talk that the topic came up. So that's also available to you. So until next week, Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, my name is Lauren Gray. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and I look forward to talking to you all next week.